And you know the sun's sitting fast, just like they say, nothing good ever lasts. Go on now and kiss it goodbye, but hold on to your love because your heart's bound to die. Go on now and say goodbye to our town, to our town. Can't you see the sun sitting down on our town, on our town? Good night. Now I sit on the porch, watch lightning bugs fly. I can't see too good, I got tears in my eyes. I'm leaving tomorrow, but I don't want to go. I love you, my town, you'll always live in my soul. And you know the sun's sitting fast, and just like they say, nothing good ever lasts. Go on now and kiss it goodbye, but hold on to your love because your heart's bound to die. Go on now and say goodbye to our town, to our town. Can't you see the sun sitting down on our town, on our town? Good night.
Good evening and welcome to this week in review. Tonight's stories include Coast Guard project update, Rec Centre project finished, Scotiabank Easter fundraiser. These stories plus the community events, the BBS Playbill, Off the Rack, and more coming up after this.
Looking in your eyes, I see a paradise. This world that I found is too good to be true. Standing here beside you, want so much to give you this love in my heart that I'm feeling for you.
Let them say we're crazy, I don't care about that. Put your hand in my hand, baby, don't ever look back. Let the world around us just fall apart. Baby, we can make it if we're heart to heart. And we can build this dream together, standing strong forever. Nothing's gonna stop us now. And if this world runs out of lovers, we'll still have each other. Nothing's gonna stop us. Nothing's gonna stop us now.
On Wednesday of this week, we visited the Coast Guard project. It's amazing the amount of work that has been done since our last visit. Don Ingram told us about 95% of all the work has been done. When we visited on Wednesday, there was a flurry of activity. Bathroom hardware was being installed. There was work being done on the kitchen. Others were doing minor plastering and painting jobs. Electricians were doing electrical work, an alarm system was being installed, and some plumbing was being done. We spoke briefly to Don Ingram. He told us that there was approximately another month's work to do at the site. Most of this is just wrap-up jobs. They have to repaint the outside doors, some minor work on the floating dock remains, the slipway needs more work, and more groundwork is scheduled. The outside of both of the buildings have been completed. Mr. Ingram invited us back next week for a tour of the buildings, and we accepted the invitation. We will bring you more in next week's broadcast. The Rec Centre project will be finished on Friday of this week. With the skating season almost over, these workers are finishing up at a great time. This project began in December. These workers have been very helpful at the Rec Centre this year. They offered assistance to the general running of the Rec Centre. The workers were responsible for general cleaning, sweeping, collecting pop cans for recycling, cleaning the washrooms and dressing rooms. Some of the employees helped with the canteen and general skating. They collected the fees and served the customers at the canteen. When we visited the rec center, the walkers were enjoying a brisk walk. This program is taken care of by volunteers. The rec center workers don't start until 1 p.m. They also work in the evening time. 2 of the 4 workers have completed their hours. The other 2 will finish up on Friday of this week. This type of project is very helpful in getting individuals EI eligible while providing a service for nonprofit groups and organizations. We hope the rec center will be successful in obtaining other projects like this in the future. The Scotia Bank continues in their efforts to raise funds for the Janeway Children's Hospital. It has become tradition for the staff at the bank to do fundraising for the Janeway. Since Easter is just around the corner, what a better item to have for a fundraiser than an Easter basket. This Easter basket is filled with lots of goodies. If you like chocolate, this would be a great prize for you. Inside the basket you will find chocolate bunnies in all shapes and sizes, a large pink plush bunny and many other surprises. The draw date is set for March the 24th. Tickets cost $1 each or 3 for $2. If you haven't got a ticket yet, there's still time. All proceeds will go to the Janeway Children's Hospital. The Scotia Bank is also supporters of the Canadian Cancer Society. They have on their service counters now Coins for Cancer campaign. For a small donation, you may take a yellow and blue ribbon for you to wear. They also add breast cancer lapel pins for sale, but due to popular demand, these pins sold out very quickly. The staff informed me that they had 2 orders of pins and they were gone in just a few days. More lapel pins have been ordered and are expected to arrive any day now. Check it out at the bank next time you visit. All proceeds from these lapel pins will go to breast cancer. Stay tuned for more of This Week in Review coming up after this.
Meatball on white. Next. You want mustard on that or not? Come on, I haven't got all day here. It doesn't come with peppers. They're extra. Hurry up, pay the lady. Next. Chicken's fresh, I killed it myself. So that's what you want? Next. While we're still young, you know you told me you wanted mustard. Get out of here. Time's up. Back of the line.
Hey, excuse me.
What?
Great sandwich. Thanks.
Compliments. Pass them on.
Yeah.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
Now over to Mayor Ann with the council report.
Good evening. Burgeo Town Council, we held our regular meeting, the last one for the month of March. We held it on Wednesday, March the 16th. We had 6 members in attendance. Councillor Strickland was out of town and could not attend. We opened our meeting. We had a visit from the new officer commanding of the RCMP, Ms. Constable Kathy Whitehead. Constable Whitehead is the first female officer to be stationed at Burgeo. So for any of you who are keeping diaries and historians, well, then you can make a note that Burgeo got its first female police officer. Constable Whitehead will be the officer commanding of the detachment here in Burgeo. We welcomed her to Burgeo and we discussed some things with regard to policing within the town. So therefore, publicly now, I'd like to welcome Constable Whitehead to Burgeo. One more thing while I'm on the subject. Apparently, Constable Scott Goss will be leaving us fairly soon, and I believe he's transferring back to Prince Edward Island, so we also wish Constable Goss the best. And I believe I referred to the Ms. Whitehead as Constable, but it probably is Corporal. I'm not sure of that, so if I made a mistake there, then I apologize for it. For our town manager, town clerk report, we started with the water treatment plant. and it's gradually moving along. It's progressing. Things are happening, not as fast as I'd like and as the council would like, but they are moving. And I'll just, something I can pass out to you, that one insurance company representing Brooks Enterprises have stepped up to the plate, and from the information that we got back, they have agreed that they will do all of the repair work to the building, all the damage that was caused as a result of the fire. So the town will not be entering into any contracts for this. The construction company will be, the insurance company will get a contractor and see that this work is done and will be done to the satisfaction of the town. So, you know, it's a move, but a very slight move, and it's not the biggest stumbling block that we got facing us. But nevertheless, one block at a time, eventually we will get there. I reported to you in our last report with regard to some government funding that was left over to the BDDB through some previous program, and that town had hoped to access this money and do some work out at the shed site. This was not possible. The town manager checked into it, and apparently there was an extension of 1 year had been carried over. The program that it was under is no longer. However, you know, the town manager was given sort of, we could say, we could call it cautiously optimistic. He was led to believe that when the budget comes out and there's new funding available for the year 2005, it is quite possible that we could secure some funding back then. But at the present time, they cut the funding off from the old program. They weren't going to allow any more extensions, and that's it. So therefore, the money that was there has got to go back. But we're hopeful that it goes back, and maybe we can get it through a different form. Anyway, I'm sure that the town manager will be staying on top of it and seeing what he can do. Another little bit of information. At our last meeting, I missed out on this, but the town has adopted a thing now whereby now it's a copy from the town of Clarenville, really, but we've got our own little thing put onto it. And it's a certificate to welcome new residents to Burgeo. And, you know, we're quite pleased when we get new residents because we really like to see people moving in the town. We're not overly excited about people moving out of our town. So the town manager took it and went in, and he designed, I believe it's 2 certificates welcoming people to Burgeo. So if there's a new resident, someone taking up new residency in Burgeo, we hope that someone will let the town office know about it, because you could move into Burgeo and we not necessarily know it. And one of these certificates will be presented to the new resident. It will be signed by the mayor, and it's sort of a welcome to Burgeo thing. The other one more or less takes, should we be so lucky now, that if there's a new baby born in Burgeo, we get an increase in the younger generation and so on, then that will be very, very welcome citizen to our town. So we've also going to have a certificate for that as well. So just bear that in mind, and I'll fill you in a little more and show you what the certificate looks like. The town manager got it on his computer, but they've been having a lot of trouble with their computer the last couple of weeks, and therefore he couldn't run it off so that he could give me a copy. But like I say, it's an idea we borrowed from Clarenville, and we're going to institute, and it's just one more little thing to make our town a little bit more receptive to new residents. Some time ago, I mentioned about the debt ratio and with regards to capital works projects and so on. The Department of Municipal Affairs is looking at the figure of 30%. Any town that's carrying 30% debt charges or over 30%, it's not likely you're going to be very lucky getting capital works, because they feel that the town already has enough charges to carry. So the town manager ran ours up, and ours runs at 30.018%. And so, well, it's not carved in stone, but the dip ratio of 30-something%, what that means is 30 cents out of every dollar that we collect, we've got to spend to try to pay off our debts. And, so time you take 30 cents out there, it only leaves you with 70, and then you got administration and then our other little things, as you all know, and it mounts up. We at the town, we did send a card to the RCMP, a card of condolences on behalf of the town as a whole, and then on behalf of the council, expressing our sympathy for the 4 RCMP officers which were gunned down out in Alberta. Regarding the National Marine Conservation Area, we're getting close to the end of the month. They say there's going to be an announcement. What is it going to be? We don't know. Will they announce that they're not going to designate another conservation area for another 5 years, or will they come out and say, Virgil's, this area is going to be the new conservation area? We don't know. So that's all that we've got on that one. We just got to wait and see. They say they're going to make an announcement before the end of March. I mentioned to you something about the business retention and expansion, which Councillor Grant attended in Stephenville. And to just bring it down as simple as I can, what it seems to be is that this Gardner Institute, it's a business institute, and they've done a lot of work on small towns such as this, and with regards to business retention and expansion. And anyway, the zone boards are doing this, funded, I think, this by the provincial government. And what it is that 5 or 6 businesses will be chosen at random. There's no set as whether a business is here or there or somewhere else. It's just an at random selection. And these businesses will be approached to see if they want to take part. And there's a questionnaire which someone will visit at business and ask certain questions and so on. And the results of the questionnaire and so on will be fit into some computer module, and it will be run through, and from that will come back suggestions and ideas on probably how that business can be improved upon and so on, and things which have worked in other areas. And of course, it will also make available the funding from government that will be available to that business to make those changes which has been recommended. And I guess one of the things would be that when you went to government, if you say that those changes were recommended by the Gardner Institute, that would give you a strong arm to make the changes that they recommend. So council's taking it for what it's worth and trying to be a participant, and so some of the business could be contacted in the very near future, and we'll see what happens. If you're willing to participate, maybe it's good, maybe it's bad, we don't know, but we don't know if you don't try. We also had an application from Francois from Pinnacle Tours. Pinnacle Tours runs a tour boat in Francois, and they wanted our support in their request to also operate out of Burgeo, and they will operate 15 mile east of Burgeo and 15 mile west of Burgeo, along with their operation down in Francois. And seems like an excellent suggestion, and because of that, your town council, we really supported it, and we will be advising Pinnacle Tours of this, and we will be sending a letter of support to Transport Canada, advising them that the town of Burgeo supports the initiative taken by Pinnacle Tours to operate this tour boat. In the letter, it is felt that there probably would be an employee from Burgeo on board the boat as well, and it gives a good boost to the tourism thing when people are in Burgeo. There's something for them to look forward to and go out And I think it's a great initiative. It's too bad someone in Burgeo didn't get on the bandwagon and try it, but we certainly wish Ms. Courtney from Francois all the best in her endeavors to try and bring that thing about here in Burgeo. May the 9th is Municipal Awareness Day, and Council, we feel that we should do something. There's a municipal election coming up on in September, and I have been chosen by the Newfoundland Labrador Federation Municipalities. They called and asked me anyway, would I participate, and I told them yes. They're going to run some little skits on radio, I think. I don't think there's any on TV. Encouraging people to take part in municipal awareness and also to become a candidate for municipal council. That's one thing, but the other thing is, that Monday, May the 9th, has been designated as Municipal Awareness Day. And our council, in recognition of that, felt that so much is at stake in your municipal government here in Burgeo. It's really, really, it's a must. And so therefore, we are hoping that there will be a big response to the municipal election in September. So with that in mind, we have agreed that on Monday, May the 9th, that we're going to hold our first regular meeting for May in the Farall. So this meeting, is we're holding it in the Farall because we want people to turn out, and we'll do a regular meeting there in the Farall. There'll be more updates on this when I talk to you the next time. We just agreed to it. There was a consensus that we should go ahead and do this, so we thought that by holding the meeting in the Farall, people would become more aware of, and we've always encouraged people to attend our meetings, but they didn't. And maybe more people will come out and just see a regular meeting of council, how we run it anyway. And so I'd like for you to just circle that on your calendar. That's May the 9th, Monday, May the 9th, and reserve that night to say I'm going to do that, and attend the council meeting and just see what goes into council goes on in the council chambers. We'll try to behave ourselves and have a civilized meeting. That's if at all possible. We had some requests from the school regarding traffic around the school. Want more signs and do not enter signs and so on and so forth. So council's going to work with the school again on this traffic problem that there seems to be in that area. Personally, I'm at a loss what is causing all the problem when we had 700 and 800 children. We had 2 schools. We had a fish plant that was all coming out at the one time, using practically the same roads. Things went fine, more people, more cars, more everything. Now we're down to not a quarter of what the school children used to be, no fish plant and everything else, and it seems to be a traffic problem. And I don't know what council can do about it, but we're willing to cooperate, but I really don't know what can be done. We try to make the thing as safe as we can, and the only thing I can say is use caution in the area of the school. That is the most that I can recommend, and we got to take it from there. With regard to the kiosks, the BDDB feels that after their annual general meeting, that they probably will not be in existence. I think they see the writing on the wall or something that there's no interest, there's no volunteers, so it is quite possible. Councillor Grant informs us that the annual general meeting could be the end of the BDDB. They, of course, are saddled with certain things, and they have requested council to formally take over the kiosks, all of the assets of the kiosks, and see what we can do with it, and if we can't do anything, well, then come up with something else and so on. And being we have partnered with Stephenville Crossing and so on, and we want to give it another try, well, that's what we're going to do. We did agree to take over the kiosks, and and operate it for 1 year, and we'll see what happens there. And if it works out, well and good. If it doesn't, well, I guess we'll have to try think about something else. Another thing was brought up was the ambulance driver. Apparently the Western Health Care Authority is looking at standardizing the level of service that is provided by our health care system. And I've got a letter there, you know, and what it is that the level of service on an ambulance in Burgeo will be the same as the level of service on an ambulance in Corner Brook. The drivers, the attendants on board the ambulance will be brought up to a certain standard, a certain level, and that's a good thing. I just read a couple of paragraphs here. It says, Mr. Buckle noted the goal is to offer a consistent service so that you won't be able to distinguish between the service provided by hospital-based, community-based, or private ambulance services. We are, in effect, leveling the playing field. And this means that paramedics, they will be able to administer intravenous therapy when necessary. They will also be able to perform automatic defibrillation and EKG monitoring and to administer basic drugs such as nitroglycerin, ASA, Ventolin, dextrose, I don't know, some other drug, and other symptoms relief drugs. Mr. Buckle says that his first goal is to ensure that automatic external defibrillators are placed on all ambulances that operate in the corporation's service area. As far as pre-hospital care is concerned, the future is bright for individuals who require ambulance service. So it looks like there's going to be a upgrading of the standards on ambulances, and like I say, that's a good thing. Another topic came up was the Coast Guard wharf, which will soon be vacated in the harbor. Now, we were told when the new system was being brought about and being applied for and so on, that the procedure for the federal government is when they take a service out such as that, they first offer it to the province. If the province is not a taker, then they offer it to the municipality. Well, we sort of feels that this municipality, if it gets a chance, that we should take over the facility. And the reason for this is that there's nothing in Burgeo for recreational boaters, nothing whatsoever. So that would be the intent. Now, which way it'll work out, where it be sailing yachts, or then there's the floating dock there, and I was just talking about the tour boat and so on and so forth. But we'll see where it goes from there. And with that in mind, we just thought that we would send off a letter to the Coast Guard to remind them of this and express our interest in acquiring that facility that they have down there in the harbor once the Coast Guard have vacated it. Another bit of information, I don't know if any of you heard, but there's a Senator Como. He was on the fisheries broadcast some time ago, and he's chairman of the Senate Committee on Fisheries. I heard him, I was in the car at the time. However, Deputy Mayor Reid also heard him, and at that time he alluded to Burgeo, the situation in which Burgeo finds itself and so on. Deputy Mayor Reid contacted Senator Como, and well, I don't know, I guess it was close to 3 weeks now that Senator Como contacted me and wanted to know if I would come to Ottawa and sit before the committee and express what the downturn in the fishery has meant, I guess, to the more to the town of Burgeo. But what the guy is looking for mostly is that when consultations are held regarding the fishery, it's the fishermen and the fish processors and the union which is consulted. But there's a whole slew of people outside of that when the fishery goes down and when the fishery goes up is also affected by that. And I explained that to Senator Como, and the thing that I explained to him was this, that when I built my house in 1966, all across Canada, there was a lot of people building houses. And I would estimate that well over 95% of these people who built their houses the same time that I did, that their houses have tripled and quadrupled in value. Whereas the people in Burgeo, their houses have gone down and not worth as much as they were when it was built. Now, that's a situation where people are getting up in their 70s and 80s in other parts of Canada can sell their house and they'll get an income which can take care of their long-term care in their later life, whereas someone in Burgeo, even though they weren't connected to the fishery, has got to sell their house for a loss, and in some cases rent to own, and you mightn't live to ever get paid for it. So, you know, these are the kind of things that what happened in Burgeo affected more than the plant worker. And these are the kind of things which they're interested in airing. So having said that, I also asked, could Deputy Mayor Reid accompany me? Ordinarily there's only one person he said could do that, but he called back and he said yes, he would also accommodate Deputy Mayor Reid. So the two of us will be going to Ottawa on April the 20th to meet before the committee on April the 21st. Not going to do nothing for Burgeo, but we'll certainly present the case, and maybe it'll do something for someone, and maybe it will have some effect in the way that fisheries is managed a little bit in the future, and taking in the old picture that it's not just the people directly working for the fishery that is affected, because the hospital worker, the school teacher, the office worker, the person working in the retail store, and one thing and the other, they're all affected by what happened here in Burgeo. And after that, of course, our town manager came up with some figures for us, and I tell you, it was they were very thought-provoking and really got me to thinking. I probably said it a dozen times, but when you get the figures, the facts starting to stare you right in the face, it really alerts you. And here's the thing, he gave us the census. In 1985, Burgeo had a population of 2,576. In 1991, we had 2,400. In 1996, we had 2,098. In 2001, we had 1,782. Town manager took it a little bit further. Now, this is not, you know, a guaranteed poll or nothing like this. This is no strict science or nothing. But he just crunched the figures a little bit, and any of us can do it. And he's estimating that in 15 years' time, there will be 120 vacant houses here in Burgeo. The trend continues what we're on now. You know, and I would say, and I've looked around just my own self, looked at my own house and so on. So, you know, you can do it yourself. You can get out the phone book and go down through, and you know practically the age of everyone in those houses. And you can mark them and say, there won't be no one in that one in 15 years, and this one won't have none in 15 years, and you'll come up with a startling figure. So, you know, that's quite a thing that we got looking at us, and it's disturbing. But I look at it the other way as well. It should be a wake-up call to our younger people in this town that, you know, if you plan on retiring in this town, you're going to have to get involved. You're going to have to get on municipal council. Make no mistake about it. That's where things move. That's where things happen. So, you know, just take this, what I said, and crunch it and run it through your minds, and you will see which way we're heading. Now, this council has got a short time, but I got no doubt once the impact of this has settled in on us, we may deal a little bit with it before our term is finished. But, you know, there is no getting away from it. And maybe the only alternative that's open to us is to try and have this town declared and try to do something with regard to making Burgeo a retirement village. I don't like that because it means you're at the end of the line. You know, a retirement village, there's not much prosperity to that. But as you can well see, you take 120 houses out of this town, no one paying those taxes, those who's lived there, how are you going to be able to afford to operate this town? So, you know, it's pretty strong stuff. And, you know, there's many of us, we don't have any children here, so they won't be picking up our house. We'll either abandon the house ourselves, or the big skipper up above will abandon us from the house. You know, that's just what you're looking at. You know, I look at myself, 15 years, 79 years old. Might make it, might not. Good chance, probably I won't, and might need care by that time. So, you know, those are the facts of life, and they're pretty sad things, I've got to say, but I don't know where we're going to go, and we've got to deal with it, and some council in the very near future is going to have to try to see what they can do to retain a population here that can support the town. Anyway, I didn't want to leave you on that sad note this evening, so I came up with something that's maybe a little bit brighter, and that is I'd like to, on behalf of the council, to congratulate the school choir. They are to be commended for the showing they made in the festival that they attended. I think Ms. Kendall has really got to be commended for the excellent work she's done with the youth here in Burgeo. And well, I'm not that much up on a lot of that thing. You know, I don't have any children, I don't have any grandchildren who's in the system, but I know for you who do that it must be very rewarding, and it must be really rewarding for the students to go out of Burgeo and come back and to be as successful as they were. So that's what I'll close the news with this evening, and say congratulations to all the kids. You've done Burgeo proud, and keep it up. Thank you.
Last Friday, March the 11th, the Adams Division of the Minor Hockey had a beer bottle drive to help offset travel costs to go to the Robert Lee Memorial Hockey Tournament. The children who plays in the Adams Division are ages 9 to 13. They were very successful with their bottle drive. In fact, they had money to pay for the trip to the tournament, and there was enough left over to buy 2 sets of goalie equipment. Here you see the equipment that was purchased. This equipment will fit all youth goalies. Thanks to everyone who supported the bottle drive. Without your generous support, the purchase of this goalie equipment would not have been possible. On Monday, March the 21st, the Help Committee will host a community feud in an effort to promote awareness to violence issues. By now, most of the community knows how this game is played. It is based on the popular TV show, The Family Feud. With the community feud, teams are made up from different organizations around town. The questions come from a survey that the Help Committee circulated to different individuals around the community. The community feud will be held tomorrow night, Monday, March the 21st at 7 p.m. at the Fire Hall. There will be free food, refreshments, and prizes to be won. Make plans to attend and cheer on your favorite team. Stay with us for Off the Rack, the community events, and the BBS Playbill, all after this.
I'm Kim, and I'm 19 years old, and I'm attending school at Coulson College in Victoria. And I'm in my first year of nursing school, and hopefully I'll be graduating in 3 more years with my degree, and hopefully I'll be going into pediatrics. I love to dance. I love to do any kind of performing. I've always loved the stage. I danced for 14 years.
Off the Rack. This week, as we scanned our tape rack, we came across a tape of a hot summer day in Mrs. Margaret Ann's class. Let's look back to March 1992.
Students did a story in their reader concerning a hot summer's day in the middle of winter, and they decided it sounded like fun.
Sure. You want this one? I'll get another one. Teacher, did you want this? Yeah, that's one.
Good evening. Welcome to the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. I'm Rebecca Young. The winner of the Burnett's TV Bingo was Gavin Clothier. Congratulations, Gavin. There is no TV Bingo scheduled for Wednesday, March 23rd due to Holy Week. The next TV Bingo will be hosted by the Grad Class and Help Committee on Wednesday, March 30th at 7 p.m. The LOBI will be having their annual Children's Easter Party on Saturday, March 26th at the Lodge. There will be a door prize to be won and lunch will be served. Tickets will be sold on a guest cake and a plush bunny. The LOBI will host an adult dance for the public on Saturday, March 26th. Doors open at 10 p.m. The dance starts at 10:30 p.m. Music will be provided by Travis. Admission is $3 per person with a chance to win a door prize. Tickets will be sold, and don't forget to bring your own refreshments. If your group or organization has an upcoming event planned, we will be happy to advertise it for you. Just call the BBS office by Wednesday of each week to have items included in this portion of our broadcast. That concludes the community event segment of tonight's broadcast. See you next week.
BBS Playbill. There is no TV bingo scheduled for Wednesday, March the 23rd due to Holy Week. And I'll be here again next week with This Week in Review. For This Week in Review, I'm Marie Rose. Good night and God bless.